What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I was out here working on the bike and pulling off the exhaust, and you know, sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some. So I've not ever actually had this happen to me before, so check it out. Right here, I'm pulling off the bolt, which, you know, the first one came off from right here real easy. This guy though, look at that. So the problem I have is I was using a dog bone and now it's stuck. So I got to try to figure out how to get this to go back into the block so I can get the nut off in the dog bone without having to cut my dog bone off. Being a mechanic's a bunch of fun, guys. It's always a puzzle. Let's see if we can figure it out. Okay, guys, so I got it out. So the whole stud came loose. Now, kind of messed up my paint a little bit, but that's fine. If you're gonna do this, don't make the mistake I just did. You can't get a socket on it because of the angle. So I was trying to use a dog bone, but when the stud broke loose on the inside because of corrosion, the whole thing came out. Now, if I was using the open end, I would have just been able to slide it out and kind of work with it. But now I've mangled up my stud a little bit, so I'm gonna see if I can clean the threads up, because I used a pair of vice grips to hold it in place, some PB Blaster, and a few special words. But we were able to get it out, so now we can continue taking off the exhaust. All right, guys, so corrosion is a real thing. Had my lovely assistant Jenna out here helping me, and so the stud just came out. So if you're going to do this, you might want to get some PB Blaster and spray it. So now we're going to take a pause from this. I'm going to hit it with some penetrating oil and PB Blaster, whatever I can find, which I'm sure I had PB Blaster around here, and let it soak. And I think we're going to move on to taking the foot pegs off, because we're not going to need those anymore. All right, guys, here we go. All right, guys, so we decided to go ahead and pull the turn signals off because we're replacing the turn signals. We were trying to save as much of the wire as possible. We ended up just clipping it, and that's that. Jenna pulled off the foot pegs, and we are going to end up putting forward controls on the bike, so that's where they're going to go so they can come off. And now I put PB Blaster on that one bolt that was holding up from the exhaust from coming out. So now I'm going to see if I can get that bolt off to pull the exhaust out, so then I can chop the mufflers off. Because in a previous video, we saw that the mufflers were welded on when I cut the frame. So I'm going to have to cut those as well, but I do not want to attempt to cut those while it's on the bike. So let's see if we can get that off. It's starting to get a pretty slick look, you know, because bobbers and cafe racers, you want to take off anything that's really not needed. I am going to replace the turn signals. I have some already that I just bought, but I don't know if I'm going to use them on this bike yet. We'll see. All right, let's see if we get that muffler off. All right, guys, so we were able to get the exhaust out. It was kind of a pain in the butt just because of the amount of corrosion. And then when Jenna was pulling off the highway pegs, we saw that the engine mount bushings are worn, so it caused the engine brackets to shift. So we had to do a little finagling and then put the bolts back in there, which those bolts were bent. So we're gonna, like I said before, we're gonna get forward controls to put on the bike, so we'll get all new hardware. But now that I saw that the bushings are bad, I'll probably put new bushings on the bike to help with vibration. We got the exhaust off, which was Not the hardest thing to do, but it wasn't the easiest either. Anywho, here's the mufflers out. I'm probably gonna cut right there. So I'm gonna pop off these heat shields and make my cut right here and here. And put the bike back together, see if I like the way it sounds. If I do, then awesome. If I don't, then I will probably weld in straight pipes from there to come further out the side. I don't know, guys, what do you think? Go with just cutties or straight pipe it? Let me know. All right, later. All right, guys, so thanks a lot for tuning in today. It was an okay project, just a lot of corrosion. If you have an old motorcycle, there's just gonna be, or an old car, old whatever, there's just gonna be corrosion and rust everywhere. And I thought I did a good job before I even got into this, breaking down the corrosion, but there's always little things that you miss. So some of the hardware, like the studs and the nuts, everything that go for the exhaust, I'm gonna clean those up and reuse those and try to fix the threads. Yeah, it's just, you know, a little project at a time. Again, thanks for tuning in. Hit like, subscribe, don't like, tell a friend, drink a beer, do something. But thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next time. I'm going to figure out what I'm going to do with the exhaust. I know I'm going to cut the muffler off, but we will see after that. Pretty entertaining so far. All right, guys, have a good one. Take it easy.